Okay, hey everyone, it's me Catherine and we are back once again with another manga reading vlog, and this time I've picked one. Basically what happened was I was looking for new like manga reading apps, and I usually use the Shonen Jump one, but there is a normal just like Viz Manga one, and I found on it a manga that I started back in university, reading the fan translated pages on various manga reading websites back in my university days, which was well, we're talking over 10 years ago now. I graduated 11 years ago and I started this probably first, second year of university. I'm thinking more first, so we're talking a long time ago now. And I never finished it, and I found it on here, and I really want to read it and actually finish it because it was pretty wild, to be honest. Maybe you've heard it. I hope you have actually if you're watching this, because this is gonna be full of spoilers, as my manga reading vlogs usually are. One day I'll get around to doing spoiler-free reviews for them when I get my shit together, but for now that is not it. But yeah, so basically from what I can remember, it's called Stepping on Roses by Rinko Ueda, and basically the little description on Viz Manga just says a rags to riches romance from the creator of Tale of the Moon. I don't know Tale of the Moon, so that means absolutely nothing to me. Rags to riches romance, what I can recall, getting the spoilers out right away from the beginning, just from the beginning, is it's this rich guy, I can't remember why, but he basically goes into the poor part of town. It's set in like olden day Japan, when it starts to get more westernized, I think, because he goes to the poor parts of this place where he lives or whatever, picks this girl off, pretty much off the streets in the poverty-stricken part of this thing, and was like, you're going to be my wife or whatever, you're going to move in with me. And it's insane, and I'm really excited to read it and see where it actually went, because I can't remember how far I got, but I don't know if it was just slow to update, or if the team that was doing the scanlations was, you know, just obviously it's a spare time kind of thing, isn't it? Or whether they just like stopped being able to get hold of the manga and the pages to translate. But I'm so excited, so excited to read it. I hope it's as wild as I remember it being. I hope it is. I hope it's absolutely bonkers, but we'll see. So I'm gonna start this while I eat my breakfast, and then I'm so excited, so excited. Okay, first update, and already I'm not disappointed. So we meet our protagonist, Sumi, who is living in poverty with kids who I remembered being, I thought they were her siblings. In my memory they were her siblings, but no, it turns out her older brother, actual blood-related older brother, just keeps bringing babies back to the house even though they have no money, and he keeps gambling away what little money they do manage to get, and he's just borrowed money under Sumi's name, and it's just and she's like, why do you keep bringing back babies? They cost too much to take care of. And his reply is, when I start my own business, these kids will become my workers and it's going to be smooth sailing for me. They're the geese that lay golden eggs. What? What? And rightfully, obviously, she's annoyed. Rightfully she's annoyed, because she's been already, the guy who came to take the money that she didn't have, that they don't have, was like, well, maybe you should start selling yourself on the street then. You look like an adult. What? Okay, we're getting into some like mild spoilers for like the things that haven't happened yet, but this guy he's like the second lead in, he's not the main guy, he's like the second lead in this romance. He's the nice guy, he's the second lead, the one that everyone sort of roots for because the main guy is an absolute prick, but he becomes unhinged, and I hope he keeps that energy up throughout the manga, because if it changes, I just unhinged. I'm so excited, but I forgot about all of this. But I was right, it is like the past. It's set in 18 something in the Meiji era, I think it said. And yeah, no, unhinged. I hope he keeps up the energy. I hope he keeps it up, because I'm in this for the drama. I want this. I want the drama in this. I want the drama in this. I'm not going in this apprehensive about what happens. I'm here for the absolute messiest drama. Give it to me. Inject that shit into my veins right now. Okay. I keep forgetting to pause my music. Right. She's gone. She's gone. She's gone. Okay, so Ace basically flirted with the wrong guy. That's her brother, Ace. Flirted with the wrong guy, the guy who he owes money to. Flirted with the wrong guy. A bit of a different story. The wrong wife. Tried to flirt with the guy who he owes money's wife to try and get him to, you know, to convince her to get him to the money down. It backfired. So now the thug thinks the guy who he owed money to thinks Ace stole his wife, and he tries to take the kids. Ace just made a run for it. Just come in, took his stuff, jumped out the window and gone. And so Sumi's like, fine, I'll go sell myself. I'll do it right now. And she's very determined about it. She's like 2,000 yen, which apparently back in the day was like, now it's like 20 quid. Obviously very, 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 very roughly. I have no idea what, but in my head you usually just take off a few zeros and you're roughly in that ballpark, 20 quid. But back in the day, 2,000 yen was a hell of a lot fucking more. And she's like, the first guy that comes up to her, and he's like, how much are you? And she's like, ah, and then there's like, no, actually, I'm supposed to be doing this. And it's like 2,000 yen. And another guy comes up and he's like, I'll buy you. How old are you? And she's like, 15. She's 15 years old. 15. He's absolutely scamming her. But yeah, no. Jeez. I'm here for a messy time, not necessarily a good time. And here comes our main lead. This is the guy. Oh, okay. No, he literally buys her off the street. He's come to her rescue. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, okay. Come get on. Okay. This is slightly wilder than, I thought he picked her up off the street, like he had to go pick a wife. I didn't realize he bought her. I didn't realize he gave her like money. But yeah, this is our main. The scent of that flower, roses? Okay, anyway, I can just, these vlogs always turn into like little updates and then it just turns into reactions of me reading it. But we're just not gonna do that, so I'm gonna check back in a bit. Okay, so he gives her this 2,000 yen, which she will not let go of, takes her to his house, has his house staff clean her up, dress her up. She looks really pretty in her little, like, frou-frou dress and curly hair and that. And he's like, I wanted to make you beautiful so that you'd be suitable to be with me. Because he's gonna make her his wife, which I remember that bit, the marriage bit. I don't remember why. I will never love you and you are never to love me. Oh, it's one of these. I don't remember this. Can you throw away love for money? She'll do it for those kids. So that's chapter 1 done. That's all I know time for this morning because I've got bits and bobs to do, but yes, I am so here for all of this. Okay, anyway, so that's gonna be it for this update. I don't know when I'll next get to read it, but hopefully, well, no, it won't be months because I'm actually getting organised. This is gonna be read within this month that I've started in, which is December. In case you're wondering, this will not be posted in December. This is going to be up in February, hopefully, if the timeline goes as it should. And I feel like it's appropriate for February because, you know, February is when Valentine's Day is. Romance, it's also my birthday is, which is more important, but romance, roses are romantic. This is a fake marriage thing going on, and yeah, so if you see Christmas decorations in the back, even though it is February, no you didn't, just no you didn't. Okay, I'm having a small dinner break in my day and having a little read of chapter 2, and he basically kidnapped her the day of the wedding. Literally, he's kidnapped her, well, bought her, got her ready, because the wedding is literally, they're literally having the wedding. That he's just taken her to the church, and he's just, I don't know, decided he was getting married and then went to find a bride. No one from the Ashida family is attending the wedding. Is that his family? We don't even know his name yet. We just know he's called Young, well, his butler or whatever refers to him as Young Master, so that's all we know. Is honestly, what could that scion possibly be thinking? Soichiro, is that his name? And here we have here we have the second lead. and so it begins. This is where he gets the springing a marriage on her. First, she doesn't say I do immediately, because he made the stipulation that they weren't to love each other, but in the message, they're in the church, and the message is like, you know, do you promise to love and cherish until death do you part? And she's like, but we're not supposed to love each other. And then obviously may kiss the bride, he kisses her, and she slaps him. And it is so funny. Oh god, no, it's such a short chapter, that's it. Make sure your bride's prepared, okay? Just because you have it all planned out don't mean she's going to be completely okay with whatever's going down. Amazing. Amazing. Right, short break over. Okay, I'm waiting for some paint to dry, so we're having another break. This one a little longer because I get really impatient about waiting for paint to dry, so I need to be completely separate from ages. But I've just read chapter 3. And okay, so Soichiro, that's the name of our main guy, needed to get married by a deadline in order to inherit the company from his granddad. And this whole chapter is basically just him hating on Sumi for being poor. He's like, do you even know how to read or write? She's like, no, I'm poor. I told you I couldn't. I was like, I didn't go to school. How is she going to go to school? Exactly. Also, in my memory, he was a lot angry at her. I mean, he has been very angry, and he has threatened to send her to the bottom of the sea twice now for disobeying, but we're going to ignore the fact that he called her revolting for being poor, like how she just emanates poor and that it disgusts him. But me think the man doth protest too much, because he's definitely blushing there. He's definitely blushing. He definitely remembered Nozomu. That's his friend who helped her before. He definitely remembers her from his friend helping her, and like, he saw potential. Yes, he did buy her. Yes, he is. He keeps threatening to off her and talking about how she's poor and that he needs to make her better in order to be able to fit him properly. Like, he's a real piece of work. I have no idea how old he is, but we need to, I don't know whether to remember that she's 15 or just completely forget that she's 15. I don't know which, for the sake of reading this manga, I don't know which would be the best approach, considering what I think is going to happen later. But yeah, so I guess next chapter she's going to be doing some learning so that she can make her debut in high society. But he covered for the slap pretty well by saying that, you know, she's not used to Western weddings, because obviously it's still sort of very new, all the Western houses and the Western style weddings and the Christianity. Although she did seem to be aware of who God was, so she's not completely like ignorant, but she has been living in poverty. His granddad seems, I don't know, he's like, because obviously it was about inheriting his granddad's fortune and the company, so that his granddad told him, you know, that to find a wife, but he's got no parents. I think his granddad just wanted someone, he just didn't want him to be lonely, because his last words we have from him before we go on to there is, you two must strive to be happy together. So granddad rooting for Soichiro's happiness, and like, he needs to be very clear about what to tell her, because he told her when they were going to meet his granddad to only ever say yes. So when they get introduced, he's like, hey, this is my wife, say hello to me, and she's like, yes, yes. Sumi, yes. He's like, you're supposed to say hello to him. We also have been reminded of how old she is here, 15. Will that keep coming up? I really hope not, because I think I'm settling on trying to forget that she's only 15. because I feel like ages in manga for the most part are arbitrary. They're just like assigned a number that makes no sense really, except I guess to satisfy an age range that they're aiming for. So in this case this is shoujo, which is like teens, so like 15. It's probably about the age of the audience, target audience. So unless this gets real dark, I'm gonna keep assuming this is shoujo, but we'll see. This man really needs to stop getting angry at her for acting surprised at things that she's not expecting, because he hasn't prepared her for anything. Like, they've got a French guest over and he's gone to kiss her hand because it's a Western, I actually don't know how far, like what countries actually do the kiss on the hand. I don't actually know if they do it in France, if it's a European thing or specifically, or like country specific, I don't even fucking know. Anyway, besides the fact, he's foreign, he's come in, he's gone to kiss her hand, and she's reacted like he's tried to eat her. And well, I thought he was gonna eat me or something. And he's like, my wife isn't used to Western customs. And it's like, that's a Western way to greet people. And she very rightly says, then why didn't he tell me that beforehand? Oh, excuse me. Like, prepare your wife. And the poor butler, manservant, Komai is called, he's like, he's got to teach her all these things. This girl who's had no formal education at all, no kind of schooling. And like, he's just like, she needs to learn how to read and write because I'm going to debut her next month. And it's just like, and also the amount of food waste. So much food waste. Like, you don't have to eat it, but like, you can eat it yourself. Give it to somebody else. And almost forgot the, we're gonna say borderline harassment, assault, sorry, when he just like jumped her to kiss her and she's like no, and he's like, you can't keep shaking every time I do this, you need to get used to us being together. And it's sort of like, maybe just stop springing things on her out of nowhere. How about you be like, hey, how about we try kissing now? How about we practice that? How about we get used to that? Rather than just jumping her. Like, she's had no schooling, right? She's probably got no friends. Her brother's a massive gambler. She's got a house full of kids to look after. You really think she's been out here like having relationships? Bitch, no. And Nozomu's here now, her love. I mean, he handed her a handkerchief and some money for some medicine. Like, he showed her kindness one time and she's like, no, I love him. He's the love of my life. Be very careful of people you only meet once, because you don't know who they can truly be. And this man's about to get real unhinged. This man has her pegged. She's so easy. I mean, not hard. It is very clear that she fancies the pants off Nozomu. And he's using that to basically get her to learn quicker. So he's like, yeah, he's just gonna laugh at you if you show up to the party with like 0 manners. He's just like, she's so easy. Well, I mean, sometimes you need the right kind of motivation, you know what I mean? And if it's to you know, not make a fool of yourself in front of the guy you fancy, despite the fact that you're married, so what? So what? Just one of them things, isn't it? But you got this, darling. Why do I get the sense that Soichiro is doing this on purpose? Because they've got ready for the party at Nozomu's house with his parents, and he's having a little like, I don't want to live out the life my parents lived, which awful, fine, fair enough, awful. Sumi's like, well, you know, at least that's all you've got, bro. At least that's the only problem you've got. Like, there's plenty of people that don't have anything. But he's like, before the party when she was getting ready, Soichiro like sprayed her, like made her sure her hair was down, and sprayed her with some perfume that she hates the smell of. But Nozomu was like, you have the scent of a flower, I don't want to let you go. So like, my man did this on purpose because he seems to be smiling, and he encouraged it. So like, what is his game plan? Here we go, the scent of a flower fools the heart, he's falling for it. Also, we have a mystery baby that he's holding on to, that Nozomu was holding on to as a child, in a picture that no one wants to talk about. And I'm trying desperately to remember, it's been so long now that I can't remember. So at least some things are going to still, like, I mean, most of this is going to be a surprise for me. But yeah. Oh, so that was the end of volume 1. So now we're into like triangle, proper love triangle territory. Except it's even less of a love triangle because Pretty sure Soichiro's not in love with Sumi at all. Sumi's not in love with Soichiro, so it's just... he's just sort of hanging around. He's like a disconnected point of what could potentially be a triangle. He's not going to be a triangle of any kind. It's not even about to be an arrow yet. But I guess we'll get to that. So yeah, Nozomu's properly entered the scene. Let's see where this goes. Okay, so I did wonder why he was tailoring Sumi to fit Nozomu's tastes. Like, it didn't make any sense. Why would he want him to cheat? Why would he want her to cheat on him? Well, cheat, I guess. Because aren't they like childhood best friends? But here we have it. If he takes Sumi away from me, it'll tarnish the reputation of the Ijuin conglomerate. So it's all about power. So Mr... what? I've forgotten his family name. Soichiro is gonna have to do some serious growing up, some serious like soul searching before we get to like the romance between him and Sumi, because that's bound to come. I'm almost positive I recall them, you know, growing to like each other, but we'll see how it goes. So he's encouraging this. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so we've got a casual bit of assault going on. Like, he's literally accosted her while she's sleeping to get her to hate him. Is this, I mean, he doesn't seem like a decent guy, but is he like playing it up in order to get her to hate him so that she runs off with another man to ruin that man's business? Because we're treading into rape territory here. Okay. Sorry, we're doing the thing again. He really can't deal with her. So he's like in the process of assaulting her, right, in her sleep, and then she's like, I'll work hard to try and fall in love with you, so like, you know, don't be rough with me. And he's gone, well, he's blushing, so I don't know if he's blushing because he's angry, if he's blushing because he's like embarrassed, or maybe both, but he's like, don't make fun of me. And now he's being really childish. He's like, sleep on the floor, and she's like, yay, because she hates because she's so used to sleeping on the floor, she hates how comfy the beds are. They're like the Western beds with the mattresses. So she's like, yay, I much prefer this. She's like, sleep on the bed. So she's like, don't be so childish. And he's just, this is so his devious plan is being foiled because he picked a good girl who, although he is in love with somebody else, at the moment has no plans to leave him. Because she has some principles, you know? She's like, we married, I agreed to be married to you, so I'm not gonna stray. Not realising that that is exactly what he wants her to do, and it's just... So he picked her specifically because he saw Nozomu, how when Nozomu helped her, and he's like, I didn't realise you had a type, or you were interested in that girl or whatever. He knew, so he like picked her specifically for this. And nothing's going to plan. So Eisuke is a piece of shit, so he should have put this ball or whatever that they're having. I guess this is her official debut? I think, I can't remember. But he, after abandoning the kids with some woman he met, who's like basically not very nice. She's made them clean, when to be fair the house needed cleaning up, but she made them clean it up, and she sort of like entertain me, go buy me booze, go get me drink, blah blah blah. Basically using them to do whatever the hell she wants while she waits for Eisuke to come back. I don't think he's coming back. So he's showed up at this ball as this old woman's boyfriend. Nearly like ruined the whole thing with Sumi, because like he keeps saying, if anyone finds out you're poor, you're going to end up at the bottom of the sea. And so Soichiro's just paid him off, and he's just run off, and it's like he's a piece of shit. And now he's basically thrown Sumi at Nozomu to like continue his plan. But yeah. And so it begins. I'm sorry that the light is getting progressively more yellow, I think, or maybe I'm just, anyway. So yeah, so this chapter, I feel like Soichiro is both really good at being a dickhead and really bad at it, because like he's really putting it on, really laying it on thick, being mean, and I think some of the things he's genuinely mean about, and then some of the things it's really put on, because like after the thing, Komai, the manservant butler guy, is like, yeah, no, you did really well actually, I'd say it was a success. And he's like, bitch, you really think? You really thought? And then he puts on a big show, and oops, and wouldn't you know it, Nozomu's just around the corner, and he comes around like saying, don't do it, how could you? And he kisses her, and Nozomu's like, whatever, and he makes Sumi cry and upsets Nozomu, and then it's just sort of like, maybe I overdid it a bit, and Komai's like, you've got to be, because they're both like sort of in on it. I don't know why they're trying to bring down the Ijuin like conglomerate? Is that the word? Is that how you say it? But then he sees her and he's like, you know, you did all right. And she's like, but you said, and he's like, you know what? I'll give you a reward. What do you want? So obviously she goes to see the kids and she's having a really good time and she cooks for them. And wouldn't you know, who's hanging around? Soichiro is just around the corner. And Eisuke shows up and, you know, brings him in and he eats commoner food. Then one of the kids is mean for like farts in his face. He's obviously not impressed, drags Sumi home, but he doesn't actually hit the kid. Despite the fact that he looks super angry, he just like, you know what, we're going home. And it's fine, he's like, you know what, you can use the kitchen now. Like, they had like a fairly decent day. So like, he's like both really bad and really good at it. Like, I think, yeah. And he definitely does not dislike Sumi, because he blushes at her far too often for a man who supposedly dislikes her. And then Nozomu is hanging around, probably waiting to see her with a bouquet of roses, which we know Sumi doesn't like. So honestly, Soichiro saved him a fucking thing there. And yeah, and then we get that bit, you know, he's gripping onto the roses. This is a man who means business, and he's about to, excuse you, about to cause some trouble. Bring it on. Because this is where it's gonna start to get real messy. Honestly, I'm gonna be so disappointed if it's not as messy as I remember, and if it doesn't continue to be the messiest of messy. But you know, we'll see. We'll see. Right. So, wait, I'm doing this. I'm where it looks like I haven't moved. But I guess it won't seem that long in all these clips. But I have been in and out doing some painting, so I haven't just been sat here all evening. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just letting you know, I actually have been doing things today. But no, so Nozomu's essentially kidnapped her from the beach. Like, he's like, let's run away, and she's like, no, I can't go with you. And he's also thrown himself on her. Like, mate, you're no better than Soichiro. Like, arguably, I don't know if Soichiro is better, but he did it with intent, knowing that what he was doing was wrong. Nozomu, I don't think, realises that he's essentially forcing himself on her because he's in love with her and he's convinced she's in love with him. I mean, I guess she is, sort of. So they've sort of run away together. So that's happening right now. And yeah, because basically she tried to run back after she found out about Soichiro's like actual upbringing. And she's like, no, I've got to go home. I've got to go. Basically, she's a very like motherly type. She wants to go take care of him, I guess. And Soichiro is missing her. Yeah, she's essentially been kidnapped. So now I guess she's got to find her way back. I don't know if this is the actual runaway, but I remember, I guess it's all messed around. I remember the runaway being a little more consensual, you know? In my head, it was, she agreed to the runaway. She wasn't kidnapped. And there we have it. I don't know if that's anything a girl wants to hear, you know? Oh, you look so much like my mom. Thanks. Were you sexually attracted to your mother? Did you want to date your mother? Like, oh god, no, he said it. My mother passed away a long time ago. Maybe that's why I was attracted to you. Gross, my dude. Gross. Does Soichiro know his childhood friend is absolutely off his rocker? Like, does he know he's this unhinged? Did he know what he was getting Sumi into when he basically foisted her off on him to further his business? We also have Soichiro, like, he's missing her. He misses her. So he's gone to look for her. I don't remember how the butler feels about all this. I don't know if he's actually a bad guy or what. But yeah, so they're in this inn. There's been an earthquake. She's now tied up. Some guy slept through the earthquake. His lamp has fallen over, so the inn's about to get set on fire. Soichiro's running for her, so we're gonna have probably a rescue scene where Soichiro like faces his fear to get her out. Maybe, potentially. We'll see. No, because why has this man gone from let's run away and be together forever to let's be together in the afterlife. He's clinging on to her while this inn is on fire, and he's giving absolutely no fucks about their lives. He's just, my dude. This is men will kidnap the love of their life and tie them up in an inn while it's burning down around them before they go to therapy, sort of thing, isn't it? And it's just, I can't. But Soichiro has arrived, and they're still inside, and in he goes. He's going to save the day. In my head, Soichiro was a lot more abusive. Like, he's not been great, don't get me wrong, and there definitely has been some abuse, but like, in my head it was more physical, but I don't think he's actually, aside from the like sexual assault. He's not actually laid a hand on her. And in my head he did. Huh. This man is so dramatic. He's so dramatic. I mean, we had the little flashback of like the fire that killed Soichiro's family. Because it turns out he was the son of a concubine before his dad got married. And his stepmom, I guess, was not happy about that. So she had him living in an annex, this child. And then the family blame him for the death of his family, but all he really wanted was to be a part of his family. He didn't do it. So, you know, they had the little flashback because of the fire, and he had a moment of being scared, and then he remembered Sumi. It's like, Sumi's his family. Very sweet. And he comes in all heroic like, gives Soichiro a punch. And he's like, it's so meaningless to be alive. What? My dude. My dude. I mean, honestly, relatable, but also get a grip. You need to get some help because your emotions are flip-flopping all over the place, and that is not a good sign of someone who is mentally stable. But I can't wait to see how far he crumbles from here, because this isn't the bit that I thought was the runaway bit. Like, I feel like there's another runaway scene, and this wasn't it. Like, I completely forgot about this. This is fresh for me. Oh, so excited. This man is trying so hard to be disinterested, and he's failing so badly because he's told them that they got to sleep in separate rooms, and he's basically trying to, like, I guess avoid her, because obviously outrageous, but he seems that he actually does like his wife. And so he's trying so hard, and she's just shown up at his place of work with a box lunch in his face. He's like, please leave me alone, what are you doing? Let me be mysterious and broody and distant, but she won't let him, and it's hilarious. Again, looking past the... have to look past a lot of things reading this. Have to forget that she's 15, that seems to be the best port of call, as long as nobody reminds me. We're just going to just forget that that's how old she is. And also just sort of like brush the fact that he did assault her towards the beginning. We're also just going to brush that under the rug, and we'll, you know, pretend that this is cute and fluffy for the drama. Okay, so we've got this new guy, this cousin, or whatever, I can't remember what his name is. I'm sure I'll learn it at some point. Cousin of Soichiro, I guess. Kind of cousin, but not actually related, because I think obviously the aunt was the sister of Soichiro's stepmom, so family through marriage. Anyway, who they clearly don't like Soichiro in charge of the whatever it is he does, whatever it is their company is. They're already causing trouble for him at work because they don't really take him seriously. And this guy has found out what happened between Sumi and wait, was it not? I've suddenly doubted his name now. Nozomu. And now he's saying, I'm on your side. Also, he's married now, Nozomu. and his wife seems really lovely. She deserves so much better than him. And she seems really sweet, and she's making friends with Sumi. I feel like she's going to be trouble a little further down the line, though, is the thing. It's still a little rocky between Soichiro and Sumi right now. He's sort of being like pretty, I could say hot and cold, except he's like fiery temper. Like it's either it's clear he cares for her, but also he's still a little embarrassed, I think, by their situation, by the fact that she is from poverty. So he still needs to sort of deal with that, but we'll see where this goes. So we have a maid who's just showed up from the Kujo family, and I think the Kujo family is the cousin guy and his mum. I think that's them. So spy? Probably. So we're gonna have got a little spy. So we've got Nozomu's wife, who is definitely gonna catch on to certain things, and I don't know how she's gonna take those. And then we have this spy, because things keep cropping up about Sumi that I guess just don't add up. So I guess they're gonna dig into that. And like, the thing is, I'm pretty sure they are legally married. Was there a specification that he had to marry? Like, obviously he's embarrassed by the poverty, so he obviously lied and said she was someone from a rich family. But was there a stipulation that it had to be someone from not a rich family? Guess we'll see. This little shit thought he had him. He thought he had him. And to be fair, so did I. Because he's trying desperately to find out who Sumi is. And Keiko definitely followed her to this house after a shopping trip or whatever to give the kids clothes. And so he thought he caught him. He asked her what the relationship is with Sumi, because they came out of the house shouting Sumi, Sumi. And he's like, she comes to our house to cook us food every now and again. And she also bought us some clothes yesterday. And so Soichiro jumped on that and was like, yeah, she does charity in this area for the children. Because he asked if they're related. And he's like, no, of course not, because they're not related. They're not actually blood related. Obviously it's all going to come crashing down at some point, but we'll see. Also, I want to know if it's ever going to come out that Soichiro basically pushed her onto Nozomu. Or if they're just going to forget that whole little thing. Okay, so we all know Keiko was bad. Keiko was bad, and she's doing a great job of causing discord in the Ashida household, like putting blame on Komai, giving him food poisoning, and so Sumi takes blame for herself, blames herself. Even though it's not her fault. But Nozomu, my dude. So Sumi made rice balls for Soichiro for lunch. She took them into work, and because there was loads of them, he shared them out. Nozomu, the absolute weirdo that he is, looked like it was the best thing in the entire world. Like he'd been handed like solid gold or whatever. And then Miu she's trying desperately, bless her soul, to get Nozomu to like show some interest in her, but he's just not interested. He just has no interest in anyone but Sumi. And she goes to Sumi to ask what Nozomu likes, and she's like, just get to know him, like, you've literally just married, like, it's an arranged marriage, so of course you don't know a lot about him. Komai hands her the perfume that he knows Nozomu likes, the one that they spritzed on Sumi that time, so she goes home wearing it. He gets a whiff of it, jumps her, and then says Sumi's name. And it's like, what? So Miu is obviously upset. She goes to see Sumi, doesn't say anything, and then comes home, blah 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 blah. Days later, a day later, I don't know, time has passed, and she's packing some clothes to take for Nozomu because he's staying over at work. And she finds the rice ball. That weirdo took a bite of the rice ball, right, to make it look normal, and then he took it home wrapped in a handkerchief and put it in his drawer with his shirts. I don't even know what to say. Oh, the thing is, I have a feeling Miu is going to blame Sumi for it, when actually it's not really Sumi's fault at all. If anything, it's Soichiro and Komai's fault for the whole thing that they started, but The drama, because Suichiro like now has food poisoning. I literally don't know what she put in the rice balls to give him instant food poisoning, but you know, I thought she'd have put like sugar or something in it to make it taste weird, but no, food poisoning. And that was after the whole like getting naked to wash his back in the bath thing, and it's like, what? What? Oh god, it's cold. Okay, last update. Maybe last update. Oh, just waiting for the kettle to boil to refill my hot water bottle so it's fresh. But oh, what did I say? I mean, I don't have the thing to show, but Mew absolutely. Kujo Natsuki, I think he's called Natsuki, the cousin guy who's like scheming. First things off, sorry, Komai quit because he found the laxatives. It was laxatives, that's what, I guess I didn't think it was food poisoning, but it looked like he was vomiting, and laxatives don't make everything come out that way, they make it come out the other way. I mean, Keiko, the maid's drawer, went to go ask Suichiro to fire her. Suichiro was like, no, you didn't see her put it in, so like you can't thingy that. So he's like, fine, I'll resign. So Komai's gone, which hopefully he comes back. But then there's a little party that a little get together they're having at the Ashiters to celebrate his recovery. Nozomu and Mew were invited. Nozomu said his wife wasn't coming, but she showed up anyway. Natsuki, the scheming bastard, said, you know, Suichiro and Sumi should dance, and then he was like, Nozomu, you should dance with your wife next, and he's like, no. And he's like, okay, we'll dance with Sumi then. Alright, he does. He calls her Sumi as he's doing it, and Sumi's like, she's terrified of this man. She knows how unhinged he is, and she's absolutely terrified of him. And as they're dancing, and Mew hears him say Sumi, recalls the name he said while, you know, he jumped her. And so she's got on a bouquet of flowers and like slashed Sumi, and yeah, last update because my battery needs charging. And yeah, so the drama gets more dramery. And just Mew deserves better because she's gonna get so angry. She's gotten so angry and she's gonna look crazy, and Nozomu's gonna get mad at her for it, and it's just, she deserves so much better than that absolute unhinged man. Okay, good morning. I feel like I'm catching you all up on gossip because I read a couple more volumes last night after the battery went on this, and so I told you Komai left, right? So it turns out he ended up at Sumi's old house looking after the kids and that, and then, how am I covered in paint already? Anyway, yeah, and then he ended up working for Nozomu for some reason, and I feel like he was scheming something there because there's literally, like, he really cares about Soichiro. Like, it's really obvious that he cares about Soichiro. So like, he had to have been something like scheming in his head, like what he was planning for that. So there was that. Nozomu like finds out because Mew, quite rightly, throws out that rice ball because what the fuck. He finds out, I think I forgot to mention this, he found out about it and literally went rooting through the bins downstairs for that fucking rice ball and clutching it like it was the most precious thing. And then he got really angry at her for it, and he starts living in a second house where he does all sorts of, where he does loads of paintings, and he does a fucking he paints one of Sumi naked, and it's wild. The man is unhinged, and I don't know whether to just how to give all this information, like in order or just because that painting, Mew finds that painting and slashes it up. Like, she finds his second house, like she goes to his second house and she slashes it up, and like she's really starting to lose it because she genuinely, for some reason, despite everything, seems to think that she's in love with him. Right, believes herself to be in love with him, and it's like, girl, girl, please get some fucking standards. And then we have Soichiro and Sumi really need to communicate, because it's clear that she's in love with Soichiro, but when anybody asks her, she says no, because the deal was that they were not to love each other. So she doesn't think Soichiro can love her. So it's sort of that sort of deal. And so when he asks her one time if she loves him, she tells him no, because she's scared that it will all be over if, you know, because that was the deal. She doesn't want to break the deal. And then we have Keiko the maid, who's clearly, she was hired to work at that house by Natsuki Kujo, the cousin guy. They had something going on, but he's shown up with a fiance, which has her being like, what the fuck, my dude, you were going to remain a bachelor? And he's like, yeah, well, you know, things happen, but, you know, I'll still, because he's aiming for president now, because him and Nozomu, actually, Nozomu, I think the only thing Nozomu wants is Sumi. That's literally all he wants. He does not give a fuck, so he's going to ruin Soichiro in order to get that. I literally want to know about these childhood friends. Like, what the fuck is the deal with them? Why are they, like, fucking scheming against each other like this? I feel like Soichiro started it. We also don't know who that mystery baby is either. But anyway, so yeah, nobody at the banks thinks Soichiro is good for his job. Sumi's trying to change their mind about all that. We have, right, so Komai's working for Nozomu right now. Eisuke's working at the bank. I can't remember if that was a thing, but he's been working at the bank. And Natsuki, they know, because Keiko keeps following them, and she finds out that Eisuke is Sumi's older brother. And Natsuki's been using Eisuke. I think he knows he's got a gambling problem. He's been giving him money, entrusting money to him. And then sort of at one point he encourages him to gamble it, because, you know, it's fine as long as you win, and which is going to reflect poorly, and does end up reflecting poorly, on Soichiro. And then Eisuke fucking blabbers about who he is to Sumi, which sort of like creates this whole drama. Oh wait, before that there's a party. Miu shows up and she's like, hey, we're having a party at my house, please, you're all invited. And Nozomu, the absolute bastard, uses that party to absolutely humiliate her, and says they're getting divorced. I mean, Miu wanted a divorce because she knew he was in love with someone else, and her parents were like, oh, is that all? No, just stay married to him, we need this money. Caring more about the money than their daughter's happiness, which, you know, sort of says a lot. And then she gets really upset. Sumi, obviously being the really nice person that she is, feels for her, because that was clearly not what she was expecting. And then Miu turns a knife on her, and Soichiro shows up and gets hurt. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a really bad injury or whatever. He just gets slashed a bit. Nozomu blames Sumi because she's so fickle, and it's like, excuse me. She's just incredibly naive, is what she is. That's her only crime. She's too naive. And that's what's got her a little bit. It's not entirely her fault, because they're the ones that have pushed. He needs to remember that they're the ones that pushed her onto Nozomu. They're the ones that encouraged it. What they didn't realise, what they underestimated, was Nozomu's absolute obsession that he has with her. But when the whole Eisuke thing comes out and it finds out that Sumi is actually from a poor background, she leaves. They call for Soichiro to resign. He says he won't resign. He goes home and he either goes home or he wakes up and Sumi's gone. She's left and she's gone back to live at the house. And Soichiro goes looking for her. He goes looking for her, he finds her, and he drags her back to the bank because Nozomu gives him an ultimatum. He's like, I'll stop everyone from calling for your resignation if you give me Sumi. That's literally, because he divorces him and he tells Sumi, he's like, hey, I'll be single then and I can ask for your hand in marriage. And she's like, no, bitch, no. She's too nice. She's too nice, because she still says no, but she's not like, for some reason he still thinks that it's gonna be, I don't know, he's unhinged. And yeah, so he comes back. Soichiro comes back to the bank with Sumi dressed in her like all kimonos, looking pretty much, well, a little more put together, but pretty much like she was when he found her. and he's like, Sumi is my wife. She's my wife, and that's that. And I guess he effectively resigns. And Nozomu is absolutely fuming. He is raging because I guess he genuinely didn't think that Soichiro cared for Sumi in a more normal way. It really fucking kicked off. It really kicked off. I had to stop before it was like too much. I feel like I've missed something. But Komai still clearly cares for Soichiro because with the thing in front of the bank where he fetches Sumi, he's so moved by that. Like, genuinely. He's in tears from it. So like, he still cares. So he obviously was planning something. I'm not sure what though. I don't know if Komai just decided that Sumi was a problem and went to Nozomu to like, I don't fucking know, you know? But yeah, so that's where we are. We're coming close to, we're on the last couple of our volumes, I think. I am, I tell you, excuse me, I'm not disappointed. Not disappointed at all. I really, because they put Miu in a sanatorium because she still won't agree to the divorce. That poor girl was used by her parents and Nozomu, well, Nozomu's parents as well, and all it got her was a trip to the sanatorium. And like, she deserved, like, she might have been a spoiled rich girl or whatever, but that doesn't mean she deserved what she got. She was also naive, had a pretty sheltered upbringing for a different reason. I'm really excited to see what Keiko's gonna do now that Natsuki's got a fiance, because she's not feeling herself, she's not up to her usual tricks. So yeah, so it's really going down. It's all going down. And I'm excited to see, because it looks like Soichiro, I mean, he doesn't work for the bank anymore. It's like, is he still gonna have the house? Is he gonna be living with Sumi in that little shack? Like, he's not gonna be, like, he might have been not treated so great by his family, but he's still a rich kid. Has always been a rich kid. You know what I mean? He's never gone without, like, physical things. Like, he's gone without love, obviously. His parents' love. His granddad likes him, though. Likes him. Granddad's not dead yet. Oh, also, Nozomu's dad seems to be having heart problems. But his dad's already like, I'm not letting you take over the bank with you like you are. So who's to say Nozomu won't actually encourage his dad to get his foot into the grave a little quicker than normal, because my boy's unhinged. He is unhinged. Absolutely. Because Keiko does seem to be coming around to Sumi, to be honest, because when Soichiro leaves the house after Sumi says that she doesn't love him, she goes out into the rain to look for him, and Nozomu finds her, and she ends up at Nozomu's house in a shower. Again, girl, please stop taking your clothes off around this man, because he's not going to let you keep your modesty. And he gives her a shirt to get changed into, and won't let her go back out, and asks her to pose for his painting that he already has done, and he tries to get her to position herself the same way. And Keiko shows up to save the day, which is great. So Keiko maybe, you know, comes around. Maybe comes around. We'll see. Fucking this man. So as I predict, Soichiro is really not coping too well with living in poverty. Living in Sumi's place. He's sort of, you know, he's getting by, and he is fucking Nozomu. Like, you don't deserve to, I feel terrible for you. This is not the kind of life you should be having. I promise you I'll save you from this. Bitch, get the fuck off. Don't fall for it. He's insane, love. Do not take anything from him. Do not believe anything he said. I don't believe for a second that fucking face. He is manipulative. He's a scheming bastard. I mean, look at that face. Focus on me now, please. He is up to something, and I don't like it. Wait. That mystery child at the beginning. I thought possibly a sibling that died. The back of my mind went, is it? But then I thought, no. However, the roses, I thought we were going to be incest free. But I don't know if we are. Because he mentioned how much she looks like his mother. So is Eisuke not actually her blood older brother? Is she another orphan he just took in? Maybe not realizing or not knowing that she had a dad still. Eiichiro, Soichiro, please, you're literally sleeping next to the kids. But yeah, so like, goddamn Japan. I guess bring on the incest. What did I say? This man found a child, was like, yes, you'll be my sister. And then just didn't stop collecting kids, I guess. At least he waited till Sumi was older before he like started collecting more orphans, but in a rose garden. Because she's just passed out because Ijuin sent her, Ijuin sent her a massive bouquet of roses and she's like, absolutely not, fuck no, hate those. And threw them in the river and then sort of fainted. And so she was like, obviously like, what the fuck? Takes Eisuke aside and was like, hey, what is her deal with roses? And he says, you know, I found her abandoned in a rose garden. Right, and also, sorry, reading ahead again, Nozomu sent someone out to scout the area, so I feel like he's going to buy the land up. And because the landlady is here now, I've decided to sell the land so you need to leave, because he's going to make it as difficult as possible for her and Soichiro to live there, so that she goes running to him. Ah, he's a bastard, he's a bastard. The land sharks from Ashida Products, yep, are buying up all the land in the area, so there's nothing I can do. Here we go. Here we go. And the thing is she going to run to Nozomu to stop him from doing this? Because I think that's his goal, actually. To make her go to him to solve everybody else's problems, because he knows that she cares. Absolute bastard. It's not really as unhinged though as the early days. Kidnapping her and trying to commit lover suicide in a burning inn, or keeping onigiri in a drawer. That's really something. So we'll see how this goes. Here we go. Sorry, I'm doing it again. She's gone to him, please stop buying our land. If we get evicted, we'll have no other place to go. Of course, but in return, I would like you to become my wife. Absolute bastard. Fuck him off. You'll find somewhere. I mean, I'm pretty sure Soichiro still has a house. He might not have the bank anymore, or much money, but he does still have the house, because that's his granddad's. Or have they taken that too? I knew she'd do it. I knew she'd do it. She's gone and done it. Basically, she tried. She held off as long as she could, but they got thrown out of their house. And then Soichiro went and sold his money, his shoes and his belt. He refused to sell his wedding ring because this man is way too sentimental. Way too sentimental. Sumi found the cross. There was a cross that Soichiro found when he broke a drawer. And he's like, whose cross is this? Sumi found it. And she's like, what the fuck is this? And I'm assuming maybe it was something of hers on her when Eisuke found her. But yeah, so but then Soichiro got ill and they couldn't afford a doctor, so she gave him the ring to hold on to, the doctor, while she went to get money. She told Eisuke to look after Soichiro, and she's gone to Nozomu. Motherfucker just jumped. I think I'm gonna have to keep this short because I think I'm fast running out of memory on this memory card, and I'm not gonna have time to swap it before thinking about it. She went to see Mew. And Mew was like, you want me to forgive you? Jump off this cliff. And the bitch jumped. She actually jumped. Oh my god. Okay. So I finished it. It is finished. Where do I even begin? So, after the jump, she tells Mew that her and Nozomu are not having anything to do with each other until that she agrees to the divorce. And she's like, fine, I won't agree to do the divorce. And And so Sumi starts helping from within she starts giving positions back, or start getting like work back for the people who were close to Soichiro, who have been just put into useless jobs that for no pastime. She's sort of using it to help. She's, you know, attending all of the events and stuff to like show herself and get herself known and do everything she can to help get Soichiro back into a position. Soichiro meanwhile is doing hard labour at the docks. He then happens to overhear an Englishman trying to ask a shop to sell his tea. He knows no Japanese, I don't know what he was expecting, and he helps them, and he gets hired as a translator or interpreter, I guess. Spoken is interpreted. Anyway, meanwhile, Nozomu has asked Sumi if she'll go on a weekend business trip with him to Hakone to meet somebody. He meets the Englishman who has hired Soichiro, so Soichiro's in the place. Soichiro gets absolutely hammered, and then attempts to rape Sumi because she's like, you said you'd wait till the divorce. He's like, I don't care, I'm doing it now. She hits him with the legs it to Soichiro. They go to his room. She's like, I literally can't hold Nozomu back now. You need to have sex with me right this second. So they do it in his bedroom. Nozomu, like the rational man that he is, gets the fire axe because the hotel will not open all of the customers' doors because, you know, they can't. So he goes fucking with an axe. How this didn't ruin his reputation right then and there, I don't know. But he takes axes to some of the doors, trying to find her. She comes out all well dressed, but she just have a hickey here that she missed. He sees it and has a breakdown in his own space, like on his own. Yeah, we're running out of space right now. Oh, I'm not gonna have time. I may have deleted some videos that I still needed. I got a bit carried away. Anyway, we have more space now. So yeah, so like the axe, and then he has his breakdown, and then he fires all of the staff at the house because they were living it. I guess they moved into Soichiro's house. Unclear. Kept all the staff, kept Komai and that to make her more comfortable. Fired all those. Fired Komai, kept her locked up basically, and then he gets her all dressed up in a lovely fancy kimono and that to go see his dad. His dad is like Masako, that was the name of Nozomu's mother. And he's like, Dad, no, this is Sumi, what are you talking about? So when they leave, he gets his old family photos out to have a look. Starts noticing some things, goes to see Eisuke. Eisuke tells him the truth, so they go to Nozomu to be like, hey, you can't get married because that's literally your sister. And he's like, oh, so that's why I'm attracted to her. That's why I'm in love with her. I actually love that she's my sister and we're still going to get married. Naturally, everyone else is horrified because what the fuck? So the wedding is going on anyway. He traps Eisuke. I think he locks Eisuke away in a room. His dad has a heart attack, or like he has heart problems, so he gets sent to the hospital. So he can't really tell anybody. Or he like locks him away in the hospital. I don't fucking know. And then Eisuke escapes, goes back to Komai, who, because he'd been fired, went back to Sumi's old house. And Eisuke's like, hey, we need to go stop that wedding because Nozomu's insane and he's about to marry his sister. So he still shows up first. They start running, they run out of the hospital and that, the church from the wedding. Eisuke shows up and Komai with Nozomu's dad, and it's like, hey, this is in front of all of the church. This is his sister. This is the lost daughter, Aiko, of the Ijuin family. Like, this is your long lost sister. Get a grip. So the wedding doesn't go through because Soichiro was about to sail away to England. And I guess they stopped him. So, oh, I forgot the hunting trip part of the weekend. Okay, very quickly, rewind back to the weekend away in Hakone, the business trip. They go hunting, and obviously they have guns. And I, for real, thought, I was like, this is where he shoots him. He's gonna shoot Soichiro. He's absolutely going to murder him. He doesn't, but he does shoot his gun at him, like in his general vicinity, just not at him. But yeah, so that's another thing he did. But anyway, yeah, so fast forward. The wedding's been stopped. Soichiro, you know, I guess works his way back up in the company, gets his job back, does whatever, gets his house back. They open a school, a free school. A few years later, they have their own baby now. And Nozomu says he's not allowed to see Sumi anymore. He will not see Sumi anymore, but because they're brother and sister, they have an unbreakable bond. But he'll never see her. But he's like, we're having a baby, so what more do I need? With Mew, like, what? Why does he get to stay with... Why does Mew's girl run? He was going to marry his sister, knowing it was his sister. Girl, get out of there. And having his baby? What? How is this man still allowed out in public? I'm so glad I read this. Was this this was messy. This was the messy that I wanted. That was how it ended. Just him like, we're having our, you know, well, you're pregnant, we're having our own child, like what more could I need? We're just gonna forget literally everything you've done up to this point. Just gonna completely, you know, gloss over it all. I mean, I guess. So that was Stepping on Roses. And the thing is, right, I know she was lost, she was abandoned in a rose bush, right? Because she got kidnapped for a ransom, but then the ransomer never turned up. I guess he just lost the baby. But like, is that why she has such a, like, why she has such a visceral reaction to roses? And also, if the kidnapper who wanted a ransom, right, he stole this baby who had a solid platinum fucking cross round her neck. Take the cross, mate. Leave the baby, take the cross. He did. He left the baby and the cross. But yeah, wild. Actually wild. So yeah, I was about to just finish off there, but yeah, so that was Stepping on Roses. That was Stepping on Roses. Oh my god. I don't imagine a lot of people have read this, but if you have, and like you made it through this, like, what is this manga? Like, seriously. Oh, what a time, what a time. But that'll do me, I guess. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Do appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, and I will hopefully, in fact, no, I will, because hopefully by the time this goes up, I will be in a good pattern of posting videos at a regular rate. So I will see you in whatever my next video is. But until then, take care. Bye bye.